The former president of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, found out the hard way what it's like when you make few friends and many enemies. This video ends with Muammar Gaddafi being killed by an angry mob. He had few allies inside or outside his country to protect him. The world and his own people decided it was time for him to go. And so NATO invaded, we helped, the people rose up, and Gaddafi was gone. And that brings us to ISIS. For a time, it seemed as if ISIS was going to be a powerful force in the world, as it took 1/3 of Iraq and 1/3 of Syria with little resistance. As the terrorist group grew in size and power, very few Arab countries denounced them, and they were able to recruit from around the world. And even though America claimed a coalition in its airstrikes against ISIS in Syria and Iraq after 2 Americans were beheaded, it was really just us, as the rest of the world sat back and said, it's not our problem. And then ISIS did what Muammar Gaddafi did, and slowly started to anger the rest of the world. An ISIS-inspired attack in Ottawa, Canada, an attack in Paris on Charlie Hebdo, the beheading of 2 Japanese journalists, an attack in Copenhagen, Denmark. When you get to the point where you make an enemy out of Denmark, you really have no friends, except for a few Arab countries, and then ISIS went out of its way to tick them off too. First, when they viciously lit a captured Jordanian pilot on fire, and then beheaded 21 Egyptians in Libya. The response by Jordan was to kill ISIS prisoners. The response by Egypt and Libya was to conduct airstrikes in Libya against ISIS. You see, those Arab countries, they don't mess around. But what about the rest of the world? After the attacks on Canada, on France, Japan, and Denmark, there was a lot of tough talk, but no action. And now President Obama is getting authorization from Congress to go to war with ISIS. And that's a good thing as long as we don't go it alone or even lead the way. Just like the attack on Muammar Gaddafi's Libya, we should help but not lead. Canada, France, Japan, Denmark, and the rest of the world has to come through with their own money, their own equipment, and their own troops. For ISIS is a world problem, not just an American problem. We should be there to support the rest of the world, but it must be their money that is spent and their blood that is spilled, for they have as much to lose, if not more to lose, than we do. And if not, we should stand down, because we have already done more than enough. I'm Larry Menti. See you next week.